I love robots, and I love space. Basically, to me, there are two kinds of movies. There are the kind that are set in space, and there's robots, and then there's the kind I don't like very much. I've always dreamed of having a robot. That would be amazing. And I've always dreamed of going into space. Oh my God. Especially in orbit, you know, in total free fall, with nothing pulling at me, no resistance. That would be amazing. But then I was reading about the astronauts up at the International Space Station there, and how they have to spend 4 to 6 to 8 hours a day working out, so that when they get back to Earth, they can walk, because there's not, their muscles will atrophy. And I thought, well, I want to go do a bunch of exercise up in space. That sounds terrible. But it occurred to me that all strength requires resistance. That may be obvious to some of you people, but it wasn't obvious to me. And I thought, oh my goodness, okay, so all strength requires resistance. Well, if that's true, then it made a book I read pretty interesting. It's a book called The Great Mambo Chicken and the Transhuman Condition. It's a great book. And there's a chapter in there about a guy, a real guy, at the University of California, who took a bunch of eggs, fertilized eggs, and he put them in an incubator, and he put the incubator in a centrifuge, and he spun it at 2 Gs. Until the eggs hatched. Now, they all didn't hatch, but some of them did. And the chicks that came out of those eggs had these incredibly strong muscles. Their hearts were just unbelievable, and they had almost no fat in them. And so when he finally opened up the centrifuge, out came these great Mambo chickens. And I thought, well, I want to be a great Mambo chicken. That sounds great. I thought, well, how much resistance is there in my life, you know? And I thought, well, that's true. In the times of my life when things are going well and it's easy, and I get fatter, and I get a little bit, you know, kind of dimmer. But the times of my life when things are terrible, and I'm living in a van, and you know, I might not like it, but I get thinner, and I get a lot more cagey. Because all strength requires resistance. And then I thought, I was writing this up, and I was eating a bag of chips, and I realized, bag of chips, that's not good. And I realized that convenience is actually the enemy of growth and strength. And I bought those chips at a store where everything in the store is bad for you. It's a convenience store. And I realized what I need is an inconvenience store. In a swamp with alligators. And then I thought, okay, well, inconvenience. Okay, inconvenience is good for me. That's an important thing. Okay, so if I love my fellow man and I want to act in a spirit of humility and altruism towards them, then it's really my duty to try and inconvenience others. So I sit in my car, and it's rush hour, and I look over at the poor guy in the car next to me, and he's just hanging out his steering wheel, and he's just sad. You know, he's kind of around. And I look at the guy, and he's got, you know, the sticker on the back of his car with him and the wife and the 2 kids and the dog. And then he's probably coming home from work, right? He's probably working for a boss that's half his age. He's in a dead-end job that he hates. But he's going home, he does it because of love, right? And he's on his way home, and he just, bleh. But I can tell there's this boiling, frustrated poison just stewing right below the surface there. And I thought, oh man, when this guy gets home, you know, if anything goes wrong, like a kid breaks a glass or the dog barks too much, he's just going to lose it. And the whole family is going to have just a terrible night. Unless, right now, I piss him off. If I just cut in front of him, slam on the brakes for a second, give him the finger, and drive on. Then when he gets home, all he'll be able to think about, all he'll talk about, is this asshole who cut him off for no reason. And I just took off, give him his finger. And his family, well, that's terrible. Oh, honey, you worked so hard. Come here, have a nice hug. And they'll all get along, all with no poison involved, all because of me, a benevolent asshole. I realized, oh my God, we really need assholes. And we don't tolerate them. We don't like them very much. My dad used to say, I'll tolerate anything, but I will not tolerate an asshole, which is totally ironic if you know him. maybe that's just who he is. Maybe being an asshole is not a lifestyle choice. Maybe they are missing the gene that the rest of us have that makes us care what other people think about us. And so I thought, well, okay, we need assholes. They're lightning rods for our negativity. They're a way for our poison to get out and not go to our loved ones. We send them out to assholes, and they seem to enjoy it. And then that made me realize how the robots will destroy us. I first realized that I was at a gas station, and the automatic door was broken. And so this nice lady held the door open for me. And but it was a really heavy door, because it's one of those automatic doors, they're very heavy. And it closed too fast and hit me in the face. And so we had one of those delightful, oh, I'm so sorry, hey, it's only a face kind of moments. This is a little tiny moment of human connection. And I realized that if that robot door had been working, we wouldn't have had that connection, right? And then I realized, oh my God, we need our machines and our technology to fail every once in a while. And it's really, really important. And we need our internet to go down sometimes, we need electricity to go down. Look at the people in New York, it was terrible. They were without power, and it was all, people suffering is a terrible thing. But when a bunch of people suffer together, it really brings out the best in all of us, right? And so I thought, okay, well, we need assholes, people need to suffer, and yet we're living in a culture of convenience. We're trying to make the world more convenient. All of our toys try to make our lives more convenient. And I think that I can fix this, because Isaac Asimov posited the 3 rules of robotics, okay? The robots are coming, they're gonna exist, and we gotta have rules for them. And so you have 3 rules. First rule, protect your human. Do not, through action or inaction, allow your human to come to harm, right? Fair enough. Second rule, obey your master, right? As long as it doesn't violate the first rule. Third rule is protect yourself, as long as it doesn't violate the first 2 rules, okay? So I'm suggesting that we just augment rule number 2 to say, at most, obey 99% of the commands you're given. Which is basically a way of saying deliberately screw up 1% at a time. Which is basically a robotic way of saying, be an asshole, just once in a while. And I realized, you know, my phone already does that. My phone every once in a while, it just calls somebody. Or it just puts a song on, you know? But I don't think that's on purpose. I think that's accidental, but it's really good. I think that if we strive for perfection in technology and our machines and ourselves, then we are doomed. We're absolutely doomed. We're going to turn into an astronaut who didn't exercise. We'll just get bloated, we'll turn into the humans from WALL-E. It's not good. But as long as our voicemail systems drive us crazy, as long as car alarms go off for no reason in the middle of the night, as long as our phones don't quite work properly all the time, and as long as when we finally have our sex robots, randomly, occasionally, they give you a little shock and fall asleep. Because if we can do that, I think there is hope for humanity under our robot overlords. Thank you.